Hey everybody, Roxabox 90 here, another top 10 EDH Commander card countdown. Yeah, today we have the final guild countdown. Finally, it's come. We have the Selesnya top 10 EDH Commander countdown. And we're going to keep to our criteria because, yeah, we're going to start out with the focus being about Selesnya cards and expanding to ones that are more general use, and then we also have ones that are more specific use versus more universal use, and we're going to kind of use those to work together to put together a list of the ones that are the most narrow use specifics at the bottom, and then as you get towards the top, ones that are more useful across the board. So we'll start out with some honorable mentions because we always do. Selesnya Charm, it's a good card. It can work well with Voltron a little bit. Very nice removal for late game for very cheap, but the final option kind of stinks. The first option is not great, and it's just a removal spell, which is okay, fine, but a little limited given how much removal there is in white. Noble Blast Worm, big creature, but it has to tap sideways in order to really work well. Very expensive too, and awkward colors. Fracturing Gust, nice, huge explosion, gives you lots of life, but that doesn't really matter so much in the long term of the game. And such a wide spell wrath is kind of narrow for what it does. Sterling Grove lets you search up enchantments, and it protects your enchantments, which is all good if you're running an enchantment build. Very narrow card, even though it's awesome in many, many decks. Locks it on Hierarch, kind of the same thing. Works well if you have lots of creatures, but otherwise 4 life, 4/4 doesn't really do a whole lot in the larger game. Mercy Killing, really awesome. Can get rid of that annoying Eldrazi, but it also has the fact that it gives them lots of creatures. Hymn of Rebirth, thinking Hymn to Torak. Hymn of Rebirth, not nearly as good as a Sorcery Speed, Bring Back from the Grave, which is a little weak given other cards we've seen on other lists. Sigarda, Host of Herons, hitting those legendaries that aren't quite there for this list. Sigarda is really powerful, amazing Voltron commander, but not going to necessarily be a key card in a lot of decks. It's just a very strong, nice creature, but there's a lot of other great stuff to go on the list. Rise the Redeem, kind of the same thing. Token General, amazing. Token Decks, amazing, but narrow, little niche. Captain Saisei, legendaries, all the way, baby, but that's really where Captain Saisei works. Tristani, tokens, populate, creature life, works really well. The colors, though, it's kind of a narrow card again. Commander. Getting to the list itself, number 10, we start with Glare of the Subdual. This card is fantastic. It's 4 mana, lets you control the tempo of the game. You can tap artifacts or creatures for a sheer tapping of your creature, but you need lots of creatures to do that. Again, it's a fairly narrow thing, works well with tokens, but it's a little narrow for what it does, and that's its biggest problem, I think. Hunting Ground, number 9. This card is so cool, back from Judgment Days. It doesn't do anything. It just sits there until you have Threshold, but when you have Threshold, let me tell you, whenever an opponent plays a spell, you get a creature from your hand to play for free. Guys, there are amazing creatures in this game, and that's just asking for advantage. It's so good. It's so good long term, but it takes a little while to get going, and a lot of decks wouldn't run it because of that. Number 8, we have Knight of the Reliquary. This card sees play in Legacy. It's a great card, but in EDH Commander, the fact that it's just a boring body, it doesn't matter how many lands in your grave, it's kind of boring is what it is. Really use it to clear out your deck, get land cards, which is nice. You can change your forest for a Gaia's Cradle. Pretty good exchange. But again, no, it doesn't have haste. It's just a regular creature. Really, it's used for that tapping effect. That's really what makes it going. Great card, but still not quite there. 7, we have Karametra. She's slightly better, I think, than the Knight of the Reliquary because she's indestructible and she's a huge body also. But the important part is that it consistently lets you go through your deck, get forest or plains, and put it into play tapped. And being able to consistently clear out your deck long term with an indestructible creature enchantment thing, that's pretty awesome. Gadok Teeg, moving into the more, as we get more universal. Gadok Teeg is so good. He's an amazing commander, but he shuts down non-creature spells, man. That's so cool when you're running Green-White, because Green-White often is very aggressive strategies and doesn't like your opponents being able to mess around with big spells, and he's just the ultimate hater. Such a cool card. I love him as a commander. Fits into a lot of decks, but of course if your deck is running spells too, that's a bit awkward, and that's really the reason he's down where he is on the list. 5, we have Safi Eriksdotter. She's so cool. She works in so many infinite combos. You put her and you put Revelark and you put Karmic Guide together and you got gorgeous infinitiness. But that to be said, it's just a 2/2, guys. Yeah, it does save your Voltron Commander. Yeah, it does prevent Eldrazi effects and others from going to the grave, and you get those cards back into play. And it's just, she has so many ways to use her in so many decks. I love her to death, and that's why she's number 5. Number 4, we have Privileged Position. This is kind of breaking the rule a little bit because it is 3 hybrid, but man, it's an enchantment. Other permanents you control have hexproof, which is ridiculous. That's everything. They can't destroy your planeswalkers. They can't destroy your lands unless it's a wrath effect. And for 5 mana, that's it. I mean, yeah, it's a target. It has a big target on its chest, but I think a lot of decks would love this card, if only because it's so powerful. It affects such a wide board state, way more, and I think its mana cost is not egregious. There's cards like Asceticism. See a lot of play. It's not nearly as strong as this card. 3, we have Mirari's Wake. In the top 3, Mirari's Wake is such a cool card. It is Selesnya embodied. It gives your creatures a pump, so it helps tokens, but it also, whenever you tap a land for mana, you get double mana. That's just crazy for 5. It's the white gives you the Anthem and the green gives you the tapping ramp. It's such a good card at number 3. Number 2, going into the literally universal. If you're running Selesnya and you're not running a Eladamri Scroll, or in fact, if you're running Selesnya Colors and you're not running a Eladamri Scroll, you are doing something wrong. 2, to search your deck, instant speed for any creature and put it into your hand. Worldly Tutor had this problem. It had to go on top of your deck. Eladamri Scroll right into your hand. Such a good card. Yeah, they haven't printed it recently. It's on the more expensive end of tutors in these colors, but it's just so good. Number 2. Number 1, Harmonic Sliver. This card, I know you guys are shocked. Take a deep breath. I'll have to quote my friend Han Solo here to help us out with this card.
It may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts, kid.
Yep, Harmonic Sliver is that guy. It's 3 for a 1/1. You don't think that's much, but it's a sliver. All slivers have, when this creature comes into play, destroy target artifact or enchantment. So you see, I was thinking about putting Aura Shards here. And Aura Shards is also kind of this really annoying, destroys artifacts and enchantments, but it's such a hate card. And a lot of decks do like to run it. But if you're thinking about running Aura Shards in a multiplayer match, think about Harmonic Sliver for a second. You get a 1/1 body, which feeds right into things like Skull Clamp, Skull Clamp Warning, and the fact is it affects all your sliver decks. There you go. And it could just be by itself 3 for a 1/1 that destroys an artifact or enchantment that you can bounce in and out of play. Heard of things that let you bounce things out of play. It makes it a card that's a lot more political to use, a lot more effective to use, and in both Selesnya colors and out of Selesnya colors, it's such a good card across the board. So that's the top 10 EDH Commander list for the Selesnya cards, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be coming back with some more top 10 lists, of course. We'll be doing probably the wedges, or the wedges, the shards and wedges, and we'll be getting into that very soon. If you guys enjoyed this video, please tap the like button. Let me know which of the wedges you want us to start with. Put that down below in the comment section. Maybe tell us a little bit about why you want that wedge. And if you guys are interested in seeing more of the top 10 list, playlist is right here. And as always, Roxabox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.